Welcome to Black Girl Brunch Talk, where we discuss all things relevant
and girls sometimes irrelevant
to our lives. So
yay! It's the first episode.
Yes, it is the first. It is the first episode, and we wanted to introduce ourselves. Hooty hoo. Yes. So, first we're gonna sort of reintroduce ourselves, and then sort of talk about where we've been, and then where we're gonna go with Black Girl Brunch Talk. So, Kiara, I don't know if you want to jump in and introduce yourself again.
Sure. All right, everybody. My name is Kiara. I use the sign off, I guess, in the blog K. of course, because it's simple. I currently reside in Alexandria, but I am working in Washington, D.C. I'm an engineer. I'm not going to say specifically who I work for, but I am an engineer working in Washington, D.C.
Awesome. And then I am Stormy. And I, of course, sign off as S. because it is also simpler. And I am in Southern Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. And I am a web design project success advisor. It's a mouthful, but essentially I am a project manager for web design projects. So, woo.
Sounds fancy.
It's pretty fun. It's a fun gig. Has great times.
All right, so where have we been? So if you have been following us for a while, you know that we started off as Mosaic Union probably almost like 6-7 years ago. So during that time, I actually moved from Little Rock. I was living in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I moved to Alexandria September of 2015. So I'm coming up on 3 years very, very soon. Can't believe it's been that long. It seems like it flew by, but definitely been excited to be here. Little Rock was cool, but I was ready to go. So yeah, that's what I've been up to since we last spoke, and I'll let Stormy share what she's been doing.
Yeah, no. So once we stopped Mosaic Union, before I had just moved back home. So back home in Norfolk, of course. So I was in Richmond. So after I graduated, sort of did a few odd and end jobs up there, but nothing that really sort of, I guess, really caught on, or really gave me much traction, really, in my career rise. So came on back down to Norfolk, and then jumped into the school system, then jumped into this job. So just in Virginia, not a world traveler like Kiara, just been chilling here in Virginia.
I don't know if Little Rock is world traveling, but we'll go with it.
Nationwide traveling.
Talking about our transitions, we're kind of going to talk about a little bit the spaces, I guess, that we were in during that time period. So when I was in Arkansas, so backing up a little bit before Arkansas, went to school in Tennessee, was in Nashville, moved to Arkansas, and I just started working. So, during that time period, I was very, very career focused. I had just gotten out of grad school, my first time in the workforce doing solely work and not the internship or a co-op. So I was trying to, kind of figure it out. I was working for the Department of Transportation out there. So I was trying to be focused and figure out what the heck I was doing out of college. And then also at that time, I had started up a relationship with my boyfriend from high school. We went to school together in the same area. We don't want to talk about it, but we were dating, and so I was kind of focused on that because it was a long distance relationship, and I was, hoping that it was going to work. So career and relationship were kind of my focus at the time. So that's kind of why I decided to step back from Mosaic Union, at least on my end. At that time, I just wanted to go ahead and try to, figure those things out before trying to add something else to the plate.
Sure, yeah, and while I was in Richmond, like I was just saying too, I just could not, for whatever reason, maybe it just wasn't in the stars for me, just could not really find traction with my career. So had to come on and move back home. also just, being young and having just the time of my life, just the absolute time of my life. I also needed to get myself together. Sis, get yourself together. Get yourself together. So, had to come home, sort of had to kind of reset, and just sort of figure out where I wanted to be, rather, in the next sort of 5 to 10 years. So like, and with doing all of that, with resetting, I bet, Kiara can speak to this too, with her just being so career focused, we weren't really going anywhere. And we really weren't, dressing like that. When I moved back, I got a job in the school system, and, it was high school students, and I was 23 and they were 18, and we looked the exact same. So, in a way, just trying to establish myself as an adult with these children, since I looked like I just got my license just like them.
Right.
It steered me away from bright, fun things, and more so to just sort of muted, and dull colors. And that's not a fun post. That's not a fun, interesting blog post. You don't want to see that.
Right. So that's definitely like a big part of kind of why we decided to stop Mosaic Union when we did. It was very fashion focused, very fashion heavy. Like all our posts were either outfits of the day, or we featured people who had companies focused around fashion. We did menswear fashion week, like so many things. We were getting invited to fashion events. We put on a fashion event. And then at that time and space, like I was literally going to work, and I didn't have a dress code, but still, pretty business casual. And if I wasn't in business casual, I was in jeans and a bright orange like vest. And I really didn't think you guys cared to see that. And then when I wasn't at work, I was working out. When I was in Arkansas, I went crazy between gym and boot camp classes and just a bunch of stuff that I don't do now. But yeah, I was in workout clothes all the time, and that definitely wasn't something I didn't think was worth sharing either. Mm-hmm. So, when you put that all together, like she said, the content that we had, we didn't think it was effective, and just sharing for the heck of sharing really isn't worth it if you don't really have anything that's, solid to provide. So,
right.
Throughout that transition, us focusing on different things, we thought it was just a good idea for us to step back for a little bit, and just kind of figure things out on our end, because we were both really young. We started Mosaic Union. We were
like 22,
something like that.
Yeah.
And we were just, at that time, like she said, partying and living your life. That's all you cared about. And then it's like you graduate, you move, you go to all these different places. You're like, wait a minute. All these club dresses I have in my closet serve no purpose when I got to go to work. Like,
zero purpose.
Yeah, you have to figure it out. So yeah, thank you for everybody that supported us while we were in Mosaic Union. We had an awesome time. But we've grown up a little bit, so we wanted to bring you guys along on that journey.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. Absolutely.
So with that being said, we're going to discuss the new direction for Black Girl Brunch Talk. So I'm going to let Stormy talk about why we decided to switch the name up, and just kind of give you some insight into what we've got going on in the near future.
Yeah, totally. So like what Kiara was just saying with Mosaic Union, it was just all fashion, and events, and, just showing you guys the outfits and the looks that we were putting together on a daily basis. And that was perfect for early 20s. But, as our relationship evolved, oh my gosh, Kiara, we've been friends, girl, for years.
Yeah, almost 20 years.
Years.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow. So as our friendship...
Right. When you say it, you're like, oh, does that make you old or me old?
Right? What does that mean? No, but seriously though, as our relationship continues to evolve, and we continue to grow with each other, and we continue to mature, we decided that Mosaic Union really wasn't, it didn't sit with what we were trying to do. Like, it didn't make sense for what we are, who we are rather right now. So Black Girl Brunch Talk, when Kiara and I talk, whether it's G chat on the phone or whatever, it's always a very refreshing experience, a very uplifting experience, and it reminds me that I have a community. So, with that space, it kind of reminded me of brunch, or it kind of reminded us of brunch. So that's the whole meaning behind the name. Then our website is that we really want it to be a community, a forum, sort of a safe space where we can sort of talk about issues and ideas and things that are relevant to us, and even the silly pop culture things that really don't matter, but take our minds off of everything else that's going around.
Everything else that does matter.
Right. Everything else is going on around us. So, of course, we're still going to have fashion, but we wanted something that sort of reflected more so who we are right now in our late 20s, and not who we were back then in our early 20s. So
right. And so just to piggyback off of that briefly, brunch for us, like in this space where we are, like I said, we're both, towards the end of our 20s. And, one of the easiest ways to get all of your friends together is saying, hey, y'all want to go to brunch? Like, it's the quickest way to get everybody's attention. And, whether mimosas are flowing or if it's just waters all around the table, you're going to have a good conversation. And it
Absolutely.
can go completely, from politics to relationships to discussing student loans. Like, you can cover so many bases. And we wanted to make this something where people feel like we can talk about anything. Like, it doesn't just have to focus in on one thing, and that we can provide, multiple perspectives as well. Because brunch is that, like, you have multiple people, multiple perspectives, just having a wonderful conversation. So
yeah. And to segue into the next thing, perspectives, Kiara, do you want to talk about the perspective you're going to bring?
So when we started Mosaic Union, we were both pretty much in the same headspace. We were both in our young 20s, both young African-American women who were working for a look. I'm saying that everything was about the outfit. We wanted to be cute. The photos were everything, This was before, oh my gosh, this is about to date us so much. Wow. Yeah. This was like right when Instagram got popping. That's wild. That is so wild. We were out here, and, back at this time, I was taking pictures on a Generation 2 iPad, setting that timer and taking off running to make sure I got everything in the shot.
Yeah.
And were as pixelated as they could possibly be. But as we've gotten older, life has just done what it's supposed to do. And we've gone our various courses, still stay within the same, space, because we're still, like she said, we've been friends for years, and that's never changed, but we've decided to go our own different paths. So, with that being said, when we started Mosaic Union, I guess when we started, or towards the time where we decided to dissolve it, I was in a relationship that I thought was going to, be something, and it didn't. So in this current headspace, I am, about to be 29 in about a month, and, single, career driven, in the DMV area, just trying to make things happen. And, that's kind of the perspective that I'm going to bring to the table. Like, I have, so many things that are going on, things that I'm trying to focus on, goals, and, things that I've just lined up for myself. So when we talk, I'm going to be able to provide, that perspective. It's just me, here I can do, what I want to do within reason. And that is, what I want to be able to bring to the discussion, for you guys. So Stormy's going to talk about the perspective that she's going to be bringing to you guys as her life has been changing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I moved back home, I actually, rekindled something with a high school sweetheart, or rekindled love with my high school sweetheart. And, 5 years later, we're now starting our lives as the Scotts. So just from the perspective of two young Black millennial kids who fell in love and now are starting this life journey together as best friends. My male best friend, because Kiara's my
fix that.
Just Black love, and then just the commitment that comes with that, and just being there 100% for each other. So that, and then also career wise for me, is a little bit more I guess like leaf in the wind, sort of. because, right now my job is extremely laid back. I mean, really laid back job, guys. I mean, seriously, sweatpants to work, laid back. And
just rub it in, why don't you?
So, just sort of trying to figure out, like, okay, where do I see myself in 5 years? I mean, because, oh my gosh, my lovely best friend here has a whole, like, flow chart of her career. And I just have maybe like a sticky note with bullet points and question marks next to it. Like, should we do this? should we try this? This seems like fun. No, but
the plan is just a plan until it actually happens. Remember that, guys.
Yes,
just a plan.
yes. But, also just sort of thinking more so, I guess, along the lines of, maybe freelancing or something like that. So I guess those are my perspectives then.
And I think that would be very helpful because, I've listened to a lot of different podcasts. We're both extremely podcast heavy at the moment. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you talk about it all the time. And I think it'll be really cool to have, those two perspectives coming from millennials that are outside of, those little, differences.
Right.
Essentially have the same kind of foundation. Like, we've known each other for years. We've essentially grown up together.
Yeah.
And to kind of branch off into these separate, these directions, I think it'll be pretty cool just to kind of hear where we're coming from as it relates to certain things and be able to share that with you all when we discuss certain topics. So that kind of goes into what we want to discuss next, which is like the layout of our podcast. We're going to try to make our podcast topic driven and not really order driven.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep this like a conversation. Like we said, when you go to brunch, you kind of go. We don't walk in and sit down at the table and we're like, okay, guys, today we're going to talk about A, B, C, D, and E. And we have to get through this before the last mimosa comes out. No, we want to be able to just, come up with the topic, make sure we include that for you guys so you can see what we're going to be discussing that week and just kind of go.
Yep.
And I think that would be the best way for us to kind of get going and get started with the podcast and hopefully, it'll be enjoyable to you guys on your end.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, try to get that out every other Sunday.
Yeah, we're aiming for every other Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make sure to, put the information so it's very accessible. We're still trying to figure out the best way to post these. Also, while I was gone and we wrapped up Mosaic Union, I kind of ventured off into the world of YouTube for a little bit. So I have a YouTube channel that we might be using until we decide to go ahead and start a YouTube channel for the for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still kind of working through that. But we'll make sure to leave all that information for you all.
Absolutely. And you can also, of course, check out the podcast on the blog. So BlackGirlBrunchTalk blog, but it's blackgirlbt.com. So the podcast will be posted there as well. So
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that is pretty much all that we have for this first brief introduction episode for you guys. Unless you have anything else you want to share, Storm.
Nope. That's it. I think this was a great start, and I'm excited.